Sharon.
Hi. All right. Well, how do we want to start? I'll let you say welcome to Earthbound Conversations.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Earthbound Conversations with Lindsay
and Sharon. Lindsay is feeling very earthy and playful, and that fire sign, the Aries sign, she is on fire today.
It's Aries season.
That's
I'm ready.
right.
My ascendant sign is an Aries. I'm feeling at home now. I'm like, oh, finally. All right.
Yeah, so, we are talking about the divine storm on today. We already have, explained what the divine storm is like. We have little clips. We want to talk about how to navigate in a divine storm, and I'm going to let Lindsay kick that one off.
Ooh, yeah, so navigating through a divine storm. Honestly, I was telling Sharon, sometimes it's for me surrendering and then also taking time to really sit with what's going on, kind of gathering, the facts of everything, and also gather how I'm personally moving through it. And is some of my reactions making it heightened as well?
Yes.
Because sometimes during divine storms I'll get that 9 of Swords card, which is a lot of worry, sometimes for a little kind of making a mountain out of a molehill with some of it, where it can be lessened if you can really surrender and try to relax through it. Meditation, definitely, journaling, really finding that, like I said, lessons in it, because the divine storms always have a lesson to bring and always have blessings to even bring in them too, especially when it comes to I touched on about earlier, relationships ending sometimes, and sometimes it's for the highest good, because sometimes they were draining us even if we didn't want to admit it, and the divine just went ahead look, if you want to get to where you want to go, this has to go, and so I'm sorry but we've been kind of giving you those signs, and now kind of taking that foundation away.
Now, do you find that during the storm, when we're being separated from a situation, we feel sad, we don't want to walk away from it, we worry about the people involved and disappointing them and hurting them, or if we made that vow or commitment or some type of soul contract that I'll be with you forever, I won't walk away from your side, or that people start using words that you committed to and manipulating you with them, and it makes it very uncomfortable. So have you had that happen to you during the storm, and how did you handle that?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially a lot of the times people will accidentally do the gaslighting a little bit.
Yes.
Of but you said this and you said that, and it's hard because those promises, you're yes, I did make those promises and those commitments. And you have to end up going, things a lot of times change, contracts change.
Yes.
Life changes, the destiny sometimes changes for you. It's hard in the sense, and the sadness, you can definitely acknowledge it. Don't invalidate yourself in any way, because sometimes they'll make it worse too.
Yes, I agree.
Definitely validate the feelings I'm having. I'm sad because this is ending. I'm sad because this was my soulmate, my twin flame, somebody I committed to for X amount of time. Even if it's a friendship as well, we had these good memories. But as well, validate the point of it's time to move on.
I agree. Also, what I have learned, as she's saying, to kind of piggyback, is that thank people for the experience. And I've always learned that the most difficult people in your life can be your master teacher, in regards to they have to irk you and trigger you to bring forward what needs to come forward to get you to that next level in your life. Or we just intuitively have them people we can't stand, or those people we feel connected to or that we really love. Even in a divine storm, I would say that it doesn't even have to be an ending. Mm-hmm. It can also be boundaries. Mm-hmm. That for years you were used to your mother or father talking to you a certain way, or for years you were used to, the family was used to you taking charge of events and holding the glue together, and it's just you get to that place where it's I'm exhausted. I can't keep going at this same rate anymore. Or people have health issues that manifest itself, or because they're giving too much time somewhere else, there's no balance. So that balance and boundaries is very important when it comes to the divine storm, because in that divine storm is also a universal upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Let me upgrade you. And so in that, it feels like, things are being pulled and stripped, and we are extremely and highly emotional, and everything is a trigger. And as we've seen in the world, if people have things bottled up, then somebody else might get lashed out on to take all of that person has been going through. And that teaches us about being in judgment, because we really don't know what somebody's going through. And our first reaction is to be negative on who's right and who's wrong, when on a soul level, on a mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional level, there are things going on behind the scenes that people don't know about. And this is why it's called a storm, because when a storm is coming, you got that buildup, you have that warning that it's coming, and how are you putting things into place? So I asked Lindsay, how does she handle things? I find that when that storm is coming, I could feel it. I have that intuitive feeling. Sometimes I'm waking up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm unsettled. I'm restless. Sometimes I feel extremely exhausted, and I feel stagnation or heaviness. And I'm like, what is this? I can't shake it. Or sometimes I find myself eating comfort foods or eating junk that doesn't even complement what I stand for or what I preach for, but it's just it's a way that I'm like, okay, something's coming up. Let me prepare myself. It's almost like the feast and the harvest, or there might be a famine. Let me get everything I need. Yeah. And, so sometimes I can balance or shift that by, doing things I love, or going out for a walk, or taking a bath, or listening to a meditation, or just sitting still and quiet to hear the message. And like she said, journaling. Mm-hmm. Or finding ways that really you can call yourself home and find some balance in it all. Because what's the most important thing is to find balance. And how much are you giving away of yourself without replacing? Mm-hmm. And so on that note, I am going to shift it back to Lindsay, so she can maybe go into, even if she's come across people who have had a divine storm, mm-hmm. and you saw it, because it's one thing to be in a storm yourself, but it's another thing to be looking from the outside in.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen family members who have had injuries happen all of a sudden, mm-hmm. where they can't move or can't work at all. Mm-hmm. And it really, you feel for them. Yes. And you see that it was coming, and that were signs of take better care of yourself, slow down, you need mm-hmm. to leave from here, you need to leave from this position, this job, mm-hmm. or from this relationship. Yes. And a lot of the times as well, if you see somebody going through a divine storm, if you have the mental kind of that overflow for you, be supportive for them. Yes. Be kind to them. Like Sharon was saying, you mm-hmm. don't know what people are going through. A lot of people right now are going through their own divine storms, or just coming out of ones right now, as we kind of embark into Aries season and move forward. Felt like January, February, a part of March was just the whole tower moment was happening for everybody. Yes. So be kind to a person, yes. and be understanding. Don't judge how they navigate their own storms, because yes. everybody does differently. Offer support, and just be patient with people, really.
And then also learning to let go, which is a big thing I'm personally working on. Sometimes we could be in judgment and we have to surrender. I'm learning to apologize and say, I'm sorry, I don't see the situation the way you do, but trusting, that person is on their own journey, and they could be your best friend, they could be your spouse, they could be a business partner. We're all on different assignments, but as a soul group, as a team, we're here to do teamwork. And it can be uncomfortable sometimes, because there's different parts and traits in everybody we know. Parts we love, parts we cannot stand. Mm-hmm. And I've learned to find that we are all unique in our own ways, and that if we can leave room for people to grow, and we can model what it is that we are looking for in relationships with people, whether it's business wise, whether it's relationship wise, whether it's with your family, the biggest key is allow people to be themselves and be fully present and listen. I also learned that sometimes when you're texting and emailing, or if you're in a heated situation, we sometimes say things that we regret, or we haven't slowed ourselves down enough to say what it is we want to, and then we walk away saying, well, I should have said this, or if I would have communicated it this way, or we let ego get involved. Well, I feel this way, and if they say this to me next time, this is how I'm going to do. So you already have a plan for attack, and then there's that continued contention. So being able to breathe and put love around it and forgive it, and just know that we're all going through something at different times. Some of us might have been going through the wave January through March and finishing out the phase here in April. And then some people might have their storm June through August, because some people will have their storm during that time. However, if you have been through the storm and going through stuff for the past couple of years, and you are now able to look at the other side of it, maybe it's your turn to help other people be able to navigate and to be empathetic, be in prayer, check in on people, encouragement. I do a lot of texting and calling people outside of appointments, because I can feel them in my spirit that they need that. And once you've been through enough personal storms, you know what that feels like. Sometimes you might feel depressed. Sometimes you might not want to wake up and get dressed. You may not want to go and hang out. Some people might go through a period of they don't want to eat, or some people will overeat, or some people will sabotage with other behaviors and habits. However, seek support groups. Find like-minded people, not people that's going to complain and be like, yeah, you're right, and cheering you on for feeling angry and upset, but someone who soothes your soul, like maybe some peppermint tea would do, or ginger tea, and settle in the stomach. And, learning that first you must create boundaries and balance with yourself, because sometimes we're blaming other people. However, people can only do what you allow them to do, which means a shift in environment, a shift in conversations, a shift in how much time you give to other people. This segment is really about encouraging you that the storm isn't always comfortable, but there's lessons and blessings. And when you look back over many storms you may have personally had in your life, you'll find that, wow, I need to go through that, because now I have grown. It's part of my personality. It's what makes me me. Wouldn't you say that?
Oh, no, absolutely. I was going to say two quotes that kind of hit me with divine storms. One of them was, stop waiting for the storm to end, admire the lightning.
Yes.
And then I think it's by Joseph Campbell. I could be wrong, please don't. But it's every feeling fully felt is bliss.
Yes.
And which is the essence of Tantra, which is very much of the world. Everything can be seen as spiritual, even the pain. And even though our egos are like, no, how could it? It's like, but when you settle into it and breathe, and you understand that sadness, that grief, you allow it to move through your body, it can be bliss. I will say it, sometimes it's not easy when things are just feeling like, what in the world is going on? Everything is so overwhelming. But when you can really sit and not enjoy, but just be, when you can just fully be here in the present, you can feel the surrender just flow through you into that storm.
I agree.
And I think that's the full lesson of the divine storm as well, is to, like you said, surrender.
Yes, and there is healing in trauma, because it brings a light to a situation that was once dark. And I was reading in Laws of Attraction, where it was saying that when you walk into a room that's light, you don't look for a switch to make it dark. You want to walk in light and be the light. Do you have anything else to say before we close this out?
No, if anybody is having a divine storm right now, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're taking time to take care of yourself, and know that you are loved and supported. Even if physically it may not be showing for you, your spiritual team is looking out for you as well.
And we will conclude by saying, be blessed, stay blessed. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. And we ask you to click like, share, and subscribe.
Subscribe.
We'll see you in next episode.
All right.